If I didn't have self-worth, I'd probably be dead, because I've come from a marriage which was abusive, where someone told me, all you have is your big head. You come from a rich family. You've got nothing. Everything belongs to your mother. So what? So I wasn't thriving at that point. When I look back 2-3 years, when I look back at when I was married and now, completely, like the farm has completely changed, because I'm not in a toxic environment anymore. What I deem as failure for a woman is when you can't control your finances, you're always in debt, you're having kids. I've seen people, 6-7 children. Have you noticed that the people who have a lot of kids are poor?
What advice would you give someone who's planning to start the farming business? Where do you start from?
There's money that comes for you. God brings you, but it's your level of consistency and diligence. The Bible says a diligent hand maketh rich. What does diligence really mean? Be on time. There are women who own boutiques. They could have been far, 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 but they come to work late. I always say that our people are wrong. We are suffering because of ourselves. It's got nothing to do with anyone. It's got nothing to do with the government. If you're diligent, you work hard, you apply yourself, you're not mediocre, trust me when I tell you that God will open doors for you. I can't relax. There is no time for relaxing. Me, I'll relax when I'm dead.
It's time for the big conversations, telling stories of movers and shakers, of industry giants and daring professionals. It's time for the conversations that change your perspective on life, the kind of conversations that shape entrepreneurs and move careers forward. If you don't know where these conversations are found, we are sending you a GPS. But if you're listening to this voice right now, you are here. Welcome to the Growth Podcast. This is the GPS.
Episode number 39 is here. Welcome to this edition of the Growth Podcast powered by MTN Business. We're very happy that you're here with us on episode number 39. Last week, we talked about education and qualifications and whatnot. This week, we're making a whole 360-degree turn. Okay, I won't call it that because I think that the two intertwine somehow. This week, our focus is on entrepreneurship. And I'm very happy to host a woman who is in business, has been in business. I've got no recollection of her ever being associated with being an employee for any organization. And I feel like that is what entrepreneurship is, because most people transition, like, I worked, raise capital, then I went into the business. But for her, it's been like the dust from day one. And she's still there, meaning that, there's hope for us. But for us to get that hope, we have to get the information. So like I said, it's powered by MTN. This is my 5G router. I hope you get yours as well. Our podcast is uploaded every week successfully because MTN 5G is there for us. So like I said, my guest is here. Please help me to welcome the Z farmer, Maria Zalumis. Welcome.
Thank you.
I just learned that you've got another name after Zalumis or something.
In between. Zeleny.
Zeleny.
Yeah,
okay, Zeleny.
Yeah,
close to Zelensky. Like, are you sure I'm not from Ukraine?
No, my great-grandma was Ndebele.
She was Ndebele?
Yeah.
Okay,
and
cool.
it means on the way.
Okay, and the Z farmer, like, whose idea was that? Like, where did that name come from?
It came from me. I had a dream that God spoke to me and he said, I want you to be called the Z farmer because you represent Zambia and your surname ends with Z, Zalumis.
Okay. The Zalumis. Okay.
The Zalumis, but mainly for my country because I wanted to be a representative in women farming.
Oh, in women farming, which I feel like, okay, I may not be sure, but I feel like until you, the women farming wasn't so pronounced.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I must say that, first of all, we should consider ourselves very lucky she's showed up because she's disappointed us so many times.
I'm sorry.
It's like, no, sorry, I'm having coffee in Switzerland. We can't make it next week. Oh, I'm going to SA. No, they're bringing Chiangamolilo, so we can't. This week is busy. So finally, she's here. And thank you so much for making the time.
Thank you so much for having me. It's a real honor to come. Sorry about all the other times. It's just been a really crazy 2023.
Yeah, I know. 2023 has been crazy so far. It's been fast.
Yeah, it's been really
the
fast.
First quarter has just been fast.
Yes.
In and of itself. You have a very interesting background as far as your business and your career are concerned, because you trained as a nurse.
Yeah.
and then you came to Zambia and did farming. But first of all, where did the inspiration for nursing come from?
Well, I did want to become a doctor at the time, and my parents didn't have enough funds to take me to med school because it was about $50,000 per year at the time for an international student. So I thought I should do nursing, and then once I finished my nursing, I would go and do medicine. That was the plan. But then when I finished my nursing and did my postgrad in cardiology, I just continued working because I had a vision to come back and not so much be a doctor in Australia. Yeah.
Okay, and then you came back. The interesting bit is you came back and couldn't find a job because you're overqualified.
Yeah.
I didn't get that. Like run me through that.
Okay, so I applied to the General Nursing Council. There was some job ad there. They said to me, no, you're too qualified because I've got a postgrad in cardiology. So then I went and applied to UTH. They said, no, you need to work in admin. You can't work. And at that time, they didn't have any heart theaters or anything like that. So they said to me, no, we don't have anywhere to place you. And then I went to Fairview, and they said to me that I could work, but I could work part-time. So I was still looking for a job at the time when I started farming. But then when I experienced the farm for 2 days, I completely changed my mind.
After 2 days of farming?
After 2 days of farming.
You decided this is for me?
Yes. I decided because my mom had continued the farm. My dad started the farm and then he got sick. He started losing his memory. So my mom continued on the farm, but she was a remote farmer. She'd go to the farm and come back. So I'd already found crops in there when I started. I found a garden, I think, of 20,000 plants of tomato. So on the first day when I went there, they made something like 13 or 14,000. So when I compared with a nursing salary, you work hard for 1 month to get that type of money. So then I said no. And then I like interacting with the less privileged people. I really just thrive on that. And just being outside, I'm an outdoor person. I don't like dressing smart or, I'm that type. And I've always been like that since I was a child. I grew up with boys, so I was always playing football and all that. So, I decided, I said, no, this is the business to be in. And I've just always had a passion for plants. Yeah.
Okay. And so you go into farming. Mm-hmm. My thinking now is, was it an easy decision to make to start? Okay, let me just start this while I wait for the nursing thing to come through.
No, it wasn't an easy decision to make because when I would look at the plants, the science behind the plants was the hardest thing. To just understand, what chemicals to put where. It took me, I think, about a year to learn, how everything goes. But I'm a quick learner. So I think after a few months, I started getting the hang of it. But no, it was a hard decision, very hard. And I had to do a lot of praying about it. Trust me, if God wasn't involved, I don't know where I'd be, but I don't want to preach. I just feel like, it was tough. Even just to understand the way our lower class think, they've got a different mindset. To understand that has taken me a long time.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I would like to find out, like at the moment, what would you say is your morning routine like?
So I wake up at 4:30. First, I pray. I spend about maybe half an hour in prayer, and then I meditate. I think meditation is so important for anybody who is in entrepreneurship. It's good to wake up your mind and just focus on what the day has to offer and bring. And then when I finish that, I go to the farm. It depends on the farm that I'm working from. Sometimes I work from Tuzini 1. Other times I work from Tuzini 2. Other times I work from Tuzini 3. Now, Tuzini 2 and 3 are close by. And then, they're further on, but they are close to each other. Tuzini 1 is quite close to town. So I just go from home to Tuzini 1. I always start off my day from there, and then I move on to the other farms.
Okay. Do you stay close to the farms, or you stay at the farm itself?
Yes, I stay close to the farms on one farm.
Okay.
Well, from Tuzini 1, I stay close. And there's another house on Tuzini 2 where we just sleep over, and then we stay there for a couple of days, and then we come back. Depending on the workload, where the most work is where I'll be.
Okay. Describe for me your first, let's say, 6 months, the farming experience.
Oh, it was tough because first of all, I didn't know what to grow. So I was growing everything. I was growing tomato, I was growing broccoli. But in the first 6 months, I learned a lot about just starting from the planting all the way up to the marketing. it was tough. But and for people to believe in you, especially that you're a woman, you're coming on the scene, people are just like, huyu ni mkazi, kulibeba minaziwa, like she doesn't know anything. Just the stereotype of being a woman and trying to do a man's job in farming was hard. Even just going to buy chemicals, they ask you, oh, what? You've got a 20,000 field. Are you crazy? Like a woman. Oh, it was tough.
It was tough.
Yeah.
And what kept you going?
I think it's passion that kept me going, because when I went and I got inspired by other farmers, I would always visit other farmers like Chris and Jimmy Munjanja, who are very big in the tomato business. And when I go to their farms and see what they're doing, I would get inspired and say, if they can do it, I can do it. I'm that type of woman who just has no limitation. I just look at something and say, okay, if this guy can fly a plane, I can do the same thing.
Okay. At what point did you become famous? Like, where did social media come from? Because like farmers are seen to be very reserved, like just about the work, But you've got followers in excess of 300,000 on Facebook. I don't even know how many you have on Instagram. Where did it come from?
Well, I started these tutorials of farming where I would do a tutorial once a week. And I would teach people how to plant tomato. I would teach them about the difference in chemicals and things like that. And, people always want free knowledge. And the minute I started giving out free knowledge on planting and woke up the whole Zambia into farming, and they started seeing that it was a woman, I started getting a lot of following. And then, some negatives, some people wrote negatively about me. Oh, it really worked to my good, because then I just got another huge following. Just the controversial personal life that I've had, I think, has also contributed to the following. Yeah.
Yeah, and obviously you've leveraged that. That's why you're still sitting here.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so, like you said, first 6 months was rough. Was there any point in your experience in farming that you felt like, what, this isn't working?
Yeah, I did feel like that last year. In July, when the tomato price was going down up to 10, we actually threw away a lot of boxes. In fact, I felt like that twice. I don't know if you remember, there was a cholera time.
Yeah.
When there was cholera and the markets were closed and our tomato was rotting. Then we sent a truck to Kasumbalesa. It got stopped at Ndola. It got sent back. It was bad. At that stage, I just wanted to stop farming. But the cholera thing didn't last long. I think it lasted about 2 weeks. And then we're back to normal. So that helped. And then just recently in July, we had a time when, tomato, there was an oversupply of tomato. Everyone had gone into tomato business and we were selling really badly. And then I actually started applying for a job, hey? I wanted to go to the UK.
Nursing?
and nurse, yes. I wanted to go back and just disappear.
You mean July as in last year?
Yeah.
Like after all this success that you...
Yeah, and my mom is just like, you're not going anywhere. Like my pastor Conrad and the people from our church were just like, what, you want to go? No. This is your ministry. Like you can't go anywhere. So I wanted to quit. I just had enough of the losses. But we changed course in September. We started doing seed maize and it's done very well for us, I think. And aside focusing on the cattle ranching, that's also helped a lot.
Okay. And so, like throughout this journey that you've taken, the thing people see is the glamour. I mean, you came driving a nice car. You talk about this project you're doing, you're building, your what, and people see that glamour. And then you come and sit here and tell me that you want to quit and go and get a job somewhere else.
Yeah.
Which one do you say is more? Is it the struggle or the flowers? Like, where is it? Like, how would you really describe it for us? Is it like on an average day, can the whole day pass and just happy?
No.
You get sad every day?
No, I don't get sad every day.
Okay, like you get discouraged, like you feel like...
Like right now, I'm suffering from high blood pressure. I actually have to take meds every single morning because our company has grown, but the people in our company, and I'm not talking about the management, I'm talking about the general staff, they don't want to grow with us. They have the old mindset. So because they've got the old mindset, it's been very tough. Let me just say the last 2 weeks have been very tough for us. I've had to advertise positions. I've had to threaten people, not threaten in a bad way, but try and cut some contracts and, waken people up, because we've expanded very rapidly. I mean, from ever since we started doing our seed maize in October till now, the farms are just on like steroids, on 100%. It's 100%. We work 24 hours a day. Imagine just from working during the day, now we're working 24 hours. There are people who work at night. There's shifts. There are people who work during the day. Farm 2 has the cattle ranching. It's got the groundnut fields. And then now we are clearing about 20 hectares now for more production. So, it's been a struggle in terms of the fact that people don't think at the same speed as me. And that's something that my mom tries to tell me all the time. To say, look, people are not as smart as you. So even when you talk slower. People are not like you. And I've had to understand that and just calm down and say, okay, this one is like this, and just use people's strengths, because everyone has strengths and everyone has weaknesses. So just to waken people up a little bit. So I don't get sad every day. There are happy days when I harvest, especially, and we get paid. They're happy days. I think the thing that makes me happy is money.
All of us.
So when you see the thousands in the bank and the millions, you get happy. But when you think about when you start following people around, walking behind someone saying, you haven't put water here, you haven't done this, you haven't done that. And that's something that my manager does. But sometimes, again, I have to go behind, because the minute the manager turns his back on another field, there are people playing around. So every single group of employees needs to have a supervisor. So that's what we've done. So we've put in strategies to make those people grow.
Wow. Because I was actually going to ask you, these issues of staff.
Yeah.
It's one thing to share a vision and see the business where it's going, but these guys are also either thinking about themselves or they're thinking the opposite direction.
Yeah.
How do you align people to make sure that even when you're not there, like it will still be done? You can go on holiday in Dubai and come back and production is still there. Because there are some businesses, just when your phone is just off.
I know. I used to have that, but I don't have that anymore. What I do in the business is that I identify people who I see potential and who want to grow with the business. For example, my manager of Tuzini Farms wants to grow. So I've motivated him. I bought him a car I got him a Hilux, just to motivate him. Not the new ones.
Why are you saying that? But they will just say it Hilux like it's nothing. Like just put him Hilux.
Yeah, it's nothing.
Saying like it's a Vitz or something. Anyway, continue.
It's nothing.
Yeah, that's how big the farm is. Eh?
No. It's just I don't look at material things like that. I've got a very different perspective on material things. I value health and love and time.
But they say
more.
people say money is not important. Have it. People will say no money, health is. They have money. People will say that, and it's true.
Really?
Yeah, people will say no, money is not important. There are more important things than money. Love, family. Health. They have money. People who are poor don't say things like that. I'm telling you, people who are poor don't say no, check your health. What? No, it's people who have money who say money is not important.
Yeah, I just feel like I don't put an attachment to money. If money is supposed to flow to me, it's supposed to come to me effortlessly.
Yeah.
So even when I bought the manager his car, it was effortless. I just told him that you're not going to work anymore because I'm very happy with your work. And when I looked at the scope of work that he has to do, to offload the burden off me so that I can do other things like the systems.
Yeah.
Some of the systems is transport. He needs to be going around the farms to ensure that all he's checking on the other managers because he is the top manager. So we've got a system in place. But also we offer commissions to the manager. So, for example, we tell him that if you produce 60 tons of, for example, potatoes, you do 60 tons of potatoes or more, then you get a 5% commission. So he is on top of his salary. So there are incentives like that we put in for people who are growing. And then you find those other workers that just work for 2 months and then they leave.
Oh, yeah.
They move on to the next farm. It's normal.
Yeah.
So I expect that when I pay people on the 30th, I used to pay people on the 25th and then pay them 5 days in advance, but I've stopped that because you pay someone on the 25th and they don't come to work and they've disappeared forever. And then they'll come maybe after 2-3 months.
2-3 months?
Oh, yeah. They'll come back. Yeah, they always do.
And you keep them?
No, I just tell them no. It depends on if I know that they've learned their lesson, and that's something that I don't get involved in that. My manager does that.
There's some people who are really good with their job,
Yeah.
but don't know how to manage their attitude.
Yes.
You know, and even you know you should fire this chap.
Yeah.
But you know that he's good at what he does, and
Yeah,
you know the
exactly.
value he brings to the business. How do you?
Yeah.
And those are the hard type to manage, because also it's even worse if the person knows their value and they
Yeah.
know to say, back to to take some time.
Yeah.
How do you manage those ones?
I've got a few like that in the business. I've got some drunkards. I have some sleepy ones, but they're committed to their job. When I say sleepy ones, I mean like I've got a driver. When he gets caught by the police, he'll just look at them. He'll sit there the whole afternoon. He'll be like, "Watiguila?" And then he sits down, and then he won't move until someone else moves. But he's committed. The guy, if you send him at 22 hours, he'll go. So people like that, you just have to keep training and training and training. And then I've just got a system in place. If you don't, so for example, the drunkards, what the drunkards do is that when they get paid, we always pay on a Saturday. They'll drink maybe on Saturday night into Sunday, knowing that they're not working. But some drink even up to Tuesday, right? If they get drunk on Saturday, on Sunday, they'll continue drinking. On Monday, so we always make an agreement with the workers to say, if you love on Monday or Tuesday, you're going to have 5 days cut out of your salary because you're inconveniencing the farm. We've paid you on a Saturday. They'll go, they'll get a girl, they'll book a lodge, stuff like that because they've been paid. And then when their money is finished, they come back. So I give them 3 strikes, and all of them know. When we have a meeting, I say 3 strikes and you're out, and they all shout, and you're out. Like
That's cool.
so we just make it funny, and then like if 3 strikes, and for sure they're out. So they value their jobs. They do.
Apart from tomato, what else do you do?
We do groundnuts, we do onion, we do potato, we do cattle ranching, and soon we're going into fish farming.
Wow. How many employees do you have at the moment?
I don't know. I think 101.
101.
Yeah, something like that.
How many did you start with?
I started with 15.
With 15?
Yeah.
That was on Tuzini 1.
Yes, that was on Tuzini 1. Yeah, I've got a whole army on Tuzini farms too. Some of them I don't even know them.
How much do you think your business is worth, Tuzini, in general?
I've never counted because we have a few farms. We've acquired some more land, so and we've built. There's a lot of infrastructure. Maybe $20 million.
Dollars.
No, maybe 20. No, maybe more than $2 million. Maybe $4 million.
$4 million.
I could value it at $4 million together with the assets. We have a lot of assets.
Okay, and is it
Yeah.
easy managing such a huge business?
No, it's not. But I have systems in place.
And talking about systems, how do you build systems? Because earlier I think I was telling you that most people believe that systems must be built when the business is big and
No.
thriving and about employees. How do you build systems? Even when I am just alone in the business, I'm just starting.
No, you have to build systems for the business to grow. When I say systems, it's very simple. For example, we have an accountant who does our books every weekend. He doesn't come every day, but he'll come over the weekend. The person who does the cash book every day is the secretary, is my PA. She will write all the expenses and the revenues and everything. And then we've got the operational systems, and then we have the admin systems. So the admin systems are the financial statements, the profit and loss statements, all that stuff is done by the accountant. Then you've got the operational systems where on the farm, so you've got your managers, you've got your supervisors, and then you have your irrigators, you've got your sprayers, and each group has a supervisor. So each group everyone is in charge. There's someone in charge of a certain group of people. That's how we do it. And then I term that as management. So there's the top management, and then there's the second layer. So the top management will be my managers of all the farms and the supervisors. That's what I term the management. And then now you have the supervisors now who supervise like the general workers in the teams. And once you have that in the teams, those ones, my manager deals with them. I don't deal with them. I ensure that I separate myself to give my manager leeway to the MD, to give him leeway to manage everything. I don't stick my hands. Where I stick my hands is production. application of fertilizers, stuff like that on the ground.
Okay. And also, along the way, obviously, I know it hasn't been perfect. What are some of the mistakes that you made and what did you learn off of them?
Okay, so some of the mistakes I made, firstly, was I'll give you an example of the tomato business. I was doing the same thing, expecting a different result. So, the whole thing of just going to Soweto and prices dropping and, making a loss sometimes you win. It's like gambling. So I decided that I would not do that sort of business anymore, and I would do contract farming, which we do now. We grow for a certain company, we supply them, and then they pay us off. So I started looking for contracts, and we thank God that we got those contracts. So those are some of the mistakes. Also mistakes like, playing around with the weather. That it's going to rain tomorrow, you decide to plant. I really respect weather now patterns. I've got weather patterns on my phone. Sometimes they're not always accurate, but I have really just learned how to respect weather, because weather can really mess you up in farming.
You are really afraid of Cyclone Freddy.
Yes. Yeah.
And as an individual, seeing that, farming was not your number one priority, how would you say being a farmer and this farmer lifestyle, how would you say it has changed you as a person? How has it changed your character? How has it changed how you conduct yourself?
So farming has made me extremely disciplined with money, with my personal life. I used to drink. I could have time to go out. I don't drink anymore. I don't go out anymore because I'm just tired. I'm so focused on building an empire. And, if you're building an empire, you need to be able to be disciplined because, to whom much is given, much is required. Yeah. And that requirement is for you to just be disciplined in everything you do. I mean, even my nighttime routine is disciplined, apart from my kids who just, they'll be shouting in my ears. But, I have had to make sure that I have this disciplined life so that I can manage the farming. Also managing money, money comes and money goes. You can have 1 million today, tomorrow it's gone. So, my mom calls me a Jew. She says that I'm so much of a Jew, like I'm stingy. I said, yeah, I'm Tonga. What do you expect? My dad's Tonga. So she says, here's the Jew again. You're so stingy. I said, no, Mom, I'm not stingy. It's just I value money because I work hard for it. So when you value money, you're not going to go and spend unnecessarily. I would rather go and buy blocks or cement or fertilizer, knowing that it's going to, it's going to better me for tomorrow. I'm always looking at tomorrow because by the time I'm 50, 60, my kids need to have all their own houses. That's how I think. So it's changed my character in a lot of ways, even just, being patient. And I'm only patient with my crops. And fortunately, it's made me very, I respect time like no man's business. I'm always on the ball. And, it's also made me very spiritual. I understand the spiritual side of farming, that I can't do anything without God. And ever since I involved God in my farming, I'm telling you, it's just been glory to glory every single day.
I've got 2 questions off of what you just mentioned. Yeah. Number 1, you said you want to build houses for your kids.
Yeah.
Doesn't that kind of fall into the category of spoiling them? Why don't you let them experience life and then build for themselves?
No.
What's your rationale for that?
No, I really feel like you need to leave a good inheritance for them to even be motivated to work hard, to say, this is what our mom left us. So we need to work harder to leave our kids. This is generational wealth. I'm not only thinking about my kids, I'm thinking about my grandkids. When I look at my mom spoils her grandkids. I mean, I don't buy clothes for my kids because my mom just does it. She has this wealth. Okay, she's not rich, but she's comfortable. She's comfortable, and her life is about her grandkids. So when I look at my mom, I'm inspired that even I should be able to have this generational wealth for my kids. It's not spoiling. I just need to teach them to work hard, and I teach them. They come.
What's your approach with them?
Oh, yeah, I'm very strict. I'm very tough, especially on Taonga. She is 9. I mean, not 9, sorry. She's 12 now. She's 12, and she's got a business. She sells bottles. She's an entrepreneur, a very aggressive entrepreneur. So she sells bottles. She earns about 500 kwacha a week.
So
just from
what
working.
Kind of bottles?
Drinking bottles. She sells them to her friends. She sells them at
church. Oh, okay.
Yeah, she sells them. Sometimes she bakes cupcakes. She'll sell them.
At 9?
At 12.
Oh, okay. You said
Yeah.
Tonga is 9.
Yeah, no. She's 12. Sorry, I keep thinking. The years have gone too fast. But she started her entrepreneurship journey at 9. So she started with selling flowers. Then she couldn't be on the farm because she was going to school. So now over the weekends she comes, she does admin work on the farm. She takes checks to the bank. She knows about, cashing checks. She knows how to fill out the forms. She's on it. She's on the ball. So I know that I'm raising a girl who can, be financially independent. I always tell her about being financially independent.
Okay. And when it comes to losses, like what was
Yeah.
your biggest loss in the business?
My biggest loss was when I lost about 4 hectares of tomato from a disease called nematodes. It occurs in the soil and the plants just stop growing. So I think I lie. My biggest loss was on Tuzini Farms 3 when my whole 5-hectare field got flooded last year. No, the year before last year. It got flooded. I didn't know that the farm was a dumbo. We had just bought it. I decided to do 5 hectares of tomato. And the whole thing just went down in water.
What was the value of everything?
Maybe 600,000.
600,000.
Yeah. That's why I tell you that I don't have attachment to money. Imagine if someone lost 600, they'll be crying.
And how did you deal with it? Just went like, okay. Anyway, change the
No, yeah.
What was your plan?
Yeah, I was just like, I prayed about it and I said, God, you're teaching me something. And that's why we're turning that farm into a fish farm, because it's just a dumbo. When it starts raining, I tried to grow maize this year. I planted 5 hectares. All of it went in water.
Okay.
So you can't do the same things expecting a different result. So that farm, we have all agreed that we're turning it into a fish farm.
So now, like I said, issues of knowledge, for example. What experience do you have in fish farming?
None, but
None.
I've got people who work for me.
Exactly. So that's what I was going to ask you, because I think most people want to do things where they're strong at. I know this.
No.
But so the ones that work for you currently have experience from elsewhere.
The ones that work for me currently have experience in crops. The ones that currently work for me on the other farm have experience in animals. But I don't have anyone who has experience in fish farming. But what I've done is I've visited a fish farm, right? And I've asked all the relevant questions that I need to ask. And even asked for a cost of production to see how much profit I'm making out of each pond according to the dimensions. So for me, it's about money. How much money is coming out of this business, which is the most profitable and lucrative business in the agriculture space right now. I don't look at tomorrow. I don't look at yesterday. I look at now. So what can I do now? And I'm looking at the months going ahead, starting now until October, November. We're having there's a food crisis going on in the world. Even around us, actually. In Uganda, Kenya, there's a food crisis going around. So when I look at fish, I don't look at Zambia. I look at export.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I have a fish consultant who is consulting me, just the start, the foundation, the digging of the ponds, the liners, the everything. He is the one that is in charge. So whilst he's consulting me, I'm learning from him and I'm taking notes. And then I read a lot about fish farming. If you want to learn something, you have to read. That's how I look at things. And I read every single day. There is no day that I don't read. I have to make time to read. Reading, prayer, and meditation. Those are the 3 ingredients to any successful entrepreneur.
You mentioned earlier about God being a part of your operation.
Yeah.
What was your turning point that led you to God? Because like you said, obviously there was a shift at some point.
Yeah.
What led you to turn to God for guidance in literally everything? Because I think I've seen your spiritual side on your Facebook lives.
Yeah.
I think there's one you did on a Sunday where you're just like, preach, mama, preach. What led you there? Was it a failure? Was it a disappointment? What led you there?
Yeah, it was failure and disappointment. I've always been spiritual, but I think what the turning point was when everything was failing on the farm in July. And I decided to visit Spirit Embassy. I know Hubert Angel, right now, he's very controversial, but he works for me. my father, my spiritual father, Hubert Angel, he's built me like Pastor Conrad and Pastor Chi. These are our head pastors here. I mean, I've never been to a church where people don't target me and ask me for money. Like, this is the first church that I went to where they would not accept money from me. And I was like, oh, wow.
Or they don't accept your offering?
No, they do accept our offering, but I just give offering like anyone else. Whereas the other churches I would go to, I would get targeted, and then you get put in a corner like, oh, you need to contribute to this, you need to contribute to that.
Or because of the lifestyle that they see you live.
Yeah, because of, being the Z farm or whatever. I love the fact that my church just treats me like anybody else. And then I've got a head pastor who is on the Forbes list. So I look and I say, okay, I also want to be on the Forbes list. So I then believed that, okay, God wants me to be rich. He doesn't want me to be poor. There's no Christian who is supposed to be poor. I don't believe that. I believe that every Christian is supposed to be rich. And how do you get rich? It's through hard work and through opportunities and grabbing opportunities the way they are. So, when I look at my spiritual father, Hubert Angel, he grabs opportunities. He's a businessman. He's not supposed to take from the congregation. There is no pastor.
Do you think that stuff they're saying about him is true?
No, it's not.
But you didn't see the videos?
No, I did see the videos, but there's nothing that he did wrong. He was selling gold on behalf of the Zimbabwean government.
He was promising to smuggle the gold.
No!
Are you like one of those like Papa followers who, whatever they say about your pastor,
I'm
you
a
just don't?
staunch follower of Hubert Angel. Like, he's worked for me. The things that have happened in my life since I started going to Spirit Embassy completely changed. So anyway, the spiritual turning point was when the farm started failing, and I was like, what am I doing wrong? I didn't have God in the picture. So the minute I put God in the picture, there are certain things, I create an environment. Now, I'm so spiritual. The other day, I got accused of being a witch because I prayed and then I left, and then it started raining, and it just rained on my farm.
Yeah?
Yeah. It never rained on the neighbor's farm. It just rained on my farm. That's it. And the next day, they were like, Maria and Ivanfuit, because how can it just rain on her farm? That's it. Like, there was no rain. It's dry everywhere. It's just my farm that was
The last time I heard a story like that was, I think, those like on the ring road, like in Chalala, right?
Yeah.
Those roadside farmers, those roadside
Yeah,
farmers who during the rains they plant maize.
Yes,
So now someone went in there to steal maize.
Yeah.
So when they were stealing the maize, it started raining. Only in that area until they came and they found him. that was my, question to ask something like that. But I like what you mentioned about Christians being rich. My wife was telling me about, there's a pastor she recently discovered, and she said, he said, the biggest problem with Christians is that every prayerful person is poor.
Nah, it's not supposed to be like that.
And that's the thing. They're very prayerful, they're spiritual, but you look at, and he was encouraging people to associate with churches where the pastor is doing well, the whatnot is doing well. Not a church where, because there's some churches where you, like 15 minutes will preach about tithe and offering and make you feel guilty, and you end up giving even money that you didn't have. So I think there I could relate with you a little bit. You mentioned in one of your live sessions on Facebook that businesses and individuals should grow, but that they should grow to a level they're able to contain the growth. Because again, if growth is too fast, you fail to manage it, and that, then leads to failure. Talk to me about what you meant behind that.
Okay, so I'll give you an example of myself in the seedling business. I grew too quick, and I ended up in a lot of debt with chemical companies because I was just producing seedlings and then we got to a point where, because we grew too big too fast, the workers were not ready for the growth. That's number one. And then two, we did not anticipate what was coming. Okay, so when I say what was coming, I mean the trends of tomatoes. So you get a point where you sell a lot of seedlings, and then you don't sell according to the weather. If it's cold, people don't want to plant. They're scared of the cold if it's raining. So you need to contain your growth. And this is where you look at your systems. What is working for you? And are your people ready to have that growth? Are you ready to have it? Because you see, with growth comes expense. That's why they say the more money you have, the more problems you get.
Yeah, responsibilities.
Exactly, right. It comes expense. And we had like 3 greenhouses. We had 400,000 seedlings. And then boom, no more customers. They just disappeared. So now I couldn't pay my bills, so now I had to start taking money out of the farms to pay the bills, to pay the seedling bills. And then we ended up throwing away seedlings because we grew too fast. So what I did now was I broke one greenhouse and made a space to plant actual crops. And then in another greenhouse, we planted actual crops under greenhouse. So right now we only have one greenhouse, but the seedling business has become saturated. So I look and I say, okay, it's saturated. Should I keep growing seedlings? No, we have to change course. So in farming, you always have to change. You can't do the same thing. You have to grow.
Okay. You mentioned earlier that being a farmer has made you more disciplined, you're more hardworking.
Yeah.
You hardly have time for other things. And there was one time that I think you're having a conversation and just saying, this conversation is for the women. Men, you should leave the conversation, but I stayed on. So that's how I know this.
It's good.
Yeah, I stayed on. I know this. But you talked about self-worth, like appreciating your self-worth, which many people don't really have. And that's why they tie themselves to other people and, their success is based on the success of others. What difference can someone who has that sense of self-worthiness have that is noticeable from someone who doesn't?
Wow, that's a big question, Swelanji, because I look at women in Zambia. It's a sad situation. And when I look at even the women on the farm, all of them want to be married. All of them want to have a man providing for them. And our culture has really just, hasn't helped us with the self-worth. I mean, you're enough being on your own. I really thrived when I was on my own. I'm not on my own anymore. But, when you have self-worth, there's no one who can bring you down. When you have self-worth, you can thrive because, there are some men who want you to stay down. And I've seen this even with my parents' friends, where the mother was a housewife and the father had this big position in government or in a bank, and then the father dies and the kids start suffering because the woman wasn't allowed to work. And this thing still happens even now. So, self-worth, and every time I talk about self-worth, people say, that's why you don't have respect, or, the men get very offended. But being self-worthy and being disrespectful, they're two different things. You can just say no. Like even now, I still get offers from men. It's just no, because I value myself. And I promised myself that, no, I would live this disciplined life until I find the man who wants to marry me. Even after 2 divorces, I still had hope, that I would get somebody who understands me and who is mature and who understands the business that I do and the limelight that I'm in. And fortunately, I found that person. But if I didn't have self-worth, I'd probably be dead, because I've come from a marriage which was abusive, where someone told me, all you have is your big head. You come from a rich family. You've got nothing. Everything belongs to your mother. So what? Like, it's a family business. That's how do you think these Indians work? It's a family business. Like Safik, my parents started it. The sons work there, and they've continued on the business. So it's the same thing. My mom doesn't get involved in Tuzini Farms. All she does is, she's a co-signer on the checks, and she'll do stuff. But coming back to self-worth, if as a woman you have self-worth, then it automatically commands you to get the best. You get the best when you value yourself. When you don't value yourself, you end up with rubbish. That's the hard truth. You end up with rubbish. And when you have rubbish in your life, there is no going to the Forbes list. I can tell you that. There is no having a good life. You just have that same mediocrity over and over again because you don't value yourself.
You mentioned even here that you thrive when you are alone.
Yeah.
Would you say that like you said, you referred to your 2 divorces. Were those because you felt you were better off on your own?
Yeah, I decided especially on the first divorce. I think I was young. I was too young when I got married, and then we outgrew each other, and we're not really willing to work on things, and it ended because we're both childish. I also take responsibility. The second one, I feel like I rushed and was under a lot of pressure from family members to get married. Because I dated him and then I got pregnant, and people were so worried about what people were going to say on social media. And then I ended up, we ended up being in this abusive marriage where, I was always made to feel like I'm not doing anything, or your money is your mother's, and, it's called all sorts of names. You're a prostitute, you're this, you're that. And I decided, I said, no, I cannot have somebody constantly insult me, even when I'm just working hard. So I decided to go. And you know what I did? I just told him, I said, I'm leaving. And he thought I was joking. I packed my stuff and I left, and I never looked back. And trust me, after I left him, the peace that I had, just the tranquility, all I was after was peace, because peace is priceless. You cannot thrive in a toxic environment. If you go to a house every day and someone is insulting you, you can't do well at work, because instead of you being focused on your work, you're focused on what you're being told. Remember, the mind accumulates and keeps a lot of stuff. So I wasn't thriving at that point. When I look back 2-3 years, when I look back at when I was married and now, completely, like the farm has completely changed, because I'm not in a toxic environment anymore.
For earlier you referred to the culture and how it's designed and whatnot.
Yeah.
For any other average woman, they would think, look, I already had one divorce.
Yeah.
Let me just shipikisha. What would they say? Let me just stay on. And that is happening in a lot of homes where people are staying, holding on, because either they just don't like the tag of divorce, they'll judge them, or two, like was in your case, I've been divorced before. People think I am the problem. Did you ever have those thoughts?
Oh, yeah, I did. And I tried. You know what? I tried to shipikisha. I won't even lie to you. I tried to act happy. But there's a point when you have to make yourself happy. You have to close your ears. Like when I left my husband, my mom even stopped talking to me. She was like, you don't know what you want. What are people going to say? Blah, blah, blah. And I just told her, I said, it's either my life or people will laugh. Which one is it? And my sister just stood by me and said, no, this can't go on. And people laughed. Yeah, they did. But hey, I'm here. And like I'm getting married for a third time. People say fifth. No, it's third. And you know what? I really don't care.
And this third one, how are you going into this one?
Wow, it's been a lot of preparation. So what I did, and I advise every single woman or man who has gone through a divorce to do this. You need to go for counseling to heal, and you need to give yourself time to heal. It's very traumatic to go through a divorce, especially for men. Us women heal a lot quicker than men. But I went for counseling, and, I started getting depressed because I was just like, okay, second divorce. Is anyone going to look at me like what? And I met some frogs on the way. I won't even lie to you. There were many after me, just some for money, some for connections, some for other things. But when I met my husband, and it happened very fast, we were friends. I started it off as a friendship. So we were friends for a while, and we go to the same church. And after being friends, he would do a lot of stuff for me, like install an aircon or do this or do that. But what I decided to do was heal, go for counseling, pray, prepare myself. You have to prepare yourself for that person. And God will only give you that person when you're prepared to receive them. You get what I mean? So if you're not prepared, if you're going out to clubs and bars and you expect to meet your husband there, then I don't know. I don't go to clubs because of my spirituality, but you need to be prepared in a certain way, a level of discipline, a level of spirituality, a level of maturity. You need to be able to be mature for you to meet that person and make it work. So we're friends. We're friends more than anything. And then he proposed to me very quickly on the 31st of December. And on the 12th of January, I was engaged. Very quick. He just said, I'm not here for games. I'm here to marry. I don't want to date. This dating thing.
So you started dating in December?
Yeah. So we started officially dating in December. And 12th of January, he proposed. And we're getting married next month. He's just a man who knows what he wants.
December, January, February.
But we've been
March,
friends
April.
for a long time.
The wedding is in May?
Yes, the wedding is in May. It's in 3 weeks' time, exactly.
That was fast.
He's quick. He says that he doesn't. But anyway, he's a lot older than me. He knows what he wants. He's 10 years older than me.
And what does he make of your past marriages?
I just say, wow. First of all, I've never argued with him.
Never? 6 months? You've been dating 5 months, you haven't argued?
No.
Why? I feel like there's a problem somewhere.
we just talk. Like, I tell him, I don't like this. And then he'll tell me, I don't like this. Okay, you need to Or he'll say, sweetheart, you need to change, do this, that. Okay. So I'm thinking to myself, okay, 5 months, we've never actually had a fight. Like, from my past marriages, would fight every week. Like, what is this? This is too good to be true. But God is at the center. We pray together so much. We always involve God. He's a pastor.
Oh, he's a pastor.
Yeah.
I was about to say he looks humble because I saw him at the Twalumba event that
he's
time.
so humble.
Very
and quiet.
humble. Yeah, he was wearing one of those presidential suits.
Yeah,
those
safari
suits.
suit.
Those safari suits.
Yeah,
and,
he loves the safari
Yeah, he's
suits.
tall. For me, that's the first thing I noticed. Like,
Yeah, he's
tall,
very tall.
you know?
Yeah.
Because I feel like it's good also to find someone
Yeah.
that, is not going to use your past against you,
No.
or So,
And then I needed someone on my level. When I say my level, I mean like, I don't need someone who has zero in the bank. You understand, huh?
oh, yeah.
I needed someone who was like a
Backstab.
bit of assets. Can you remember? Just one house is okay. Because you can't. It's like you're there, and then it's like a lawyer dating a garden boy. I hope you understand what I mean. You need their levels in life. So
Yeah.
I felt like I needed someone who is stable, he's got his own business running, he's got his own things going. He's not gonna come and ask me for money for fuel. He's not gonna.
Was that
he's
the
gonna
case in your
provide
previous
for me.
marriages?
Yeah, sometimes not in my previous marriage, but there's a relationship that I was in where the guy would ask me for fuel money, and I'm just like, dude, you're a man. You can't be asking me. The man is the one who's supposed to provide for a woman. That is what the Bible says, and
Yeah,
this is
spiritual.
what exactly, and this is what he does. When I go do my hair, I don't pay. When I go do my nails, I don't pay. If I want something, I'll tell him, oh, I need this. Even fertilizer, he'll buy. He'll buy stuff like that. If I'm stuck, he'll just say, okay, how much is it? All right, here you go. Here's 2,000 or here's 3. That's what I expect a man to do.
I think this is a part where people on that Zambian wedding Sianchan will say, no, where can I find a man like that?
You can find, just pray.
But I
God
think
will-
it's for me, I feel like it's a prayer issue. And also people meet you at your level of preparedness. I think that's what I've come to learn.
Exactly.
Yeah, you don't just doesn't happen,
No, it
I think some
doesn't.
things are just, divinely. But I wish you guys were the best.
Thank you.
Yeah.
But you're coming to the wedding, right?
Just invite me. Me,
Ah,
I
the
have a
cards are
problem.
there.
Yeah, me, I
You'll
have a
be
problem.
coming.
Yeah. We'll come around. So for women in general, what would you say is the difference between success and failure for a woman?
For a woman, the difference is that for success, there are two major things that I define success as: happiness and empire building. Money and happiness. These two things. If you have these two things, you're successful. Money commands respect. I saw it today. I went in a shop with my mom and she's standing with the police officer. Like the whole shop stopped. They even closed the shop for her. You understand what I mean?
Yeah, because she's the ECZ Shanishan.
I was like, why can't you do that for me? So what I mean is that for success with a woman, it's hard work. If you're prepared to work hard and you're prepared, because you see, to be successful, there are certain laws that you need to obey as a woman.
Like which ones?
Like, for example, you can't be a prostitute and expect to be successful. It can't. That money will last, but it won't last for long. If you want to be successful where you're building generational wealth, there's certain laws that you need to obey. So the law of giving, the law of purpose. Have you read The 7 Spiritual Laws of Success by Deepak Chopra?
No.
Okay.
Maybe I should.
So you should. It's a really good book and it really changed my mindset. And the law of just not being attached to things. Not being attached to, that's why I said, it's just money, it will come. If you have that mindset, money will always flow to you. So there are certain laws that you need to obey as a woman. You need to understand the culture that you're in. We're in a Zambian culture. You can't walk around in a miniskirt. You can't flaunt your boobs on Facebook and expect to be successful. People will lose respect. That is our culture. You're not in Hollywood. So as a woman, you need to understand your place. You need to know that you're the weaker part. So as a woman, if you're not married, then you are at a disadvantage. That's how I feel. That is my opinion. I know some people will disagree with me, but that is our culture, unfortunately. If you're not called Mrs. So-and-so, then it's like, some people just, because of the culture and the mindset. So you need to understand the culture. I'm not saying go and get married, but it's good for a woman who is successful to be in a stable relationship or be with someone who is stable. You don't have to be married, but to be with someone who's stable.
The feminists would disagree, but...
Yeah, I know. I know. But, again, another law, as a woman is that you need to understand how men, like in farming, how men of the lower class operate. So I understand how my manager operates. He likes to be in charge. So I make him feel like he's in charge, but he's not really in charge. It's me who's in charge.
Yeah.
So you just need to understand the laws of success and obey those laws. And once you do that, then, the world is your oyster. Then failure. What I deem as failure for a woman is when you can't control your finances, you're always in debt, you're having kids. I've seen people, 6, 7 children. Have you noticed that the people who have a lot of kids are poor? No, it's true.
You said yes.
Yeah. People you won't find a rich person with 10 children. I'm telling you. In Zambia, the people who have a lot of kids are the people in the compounds, in the villages where they are 14, 15. The people who have money just have maybe 4 or 5 kids at the most.
Even 5, I think, is too much.
Yes. So, for me, I'm just thinking, okay, I'm getting married. My husband has 3 kids. I have 2 kids. That's enough. We have 5. That's enough. We don't need any more.
Yeah.
You get what I mean? So when I look at it, I look at, as a woman, failure is so many things. Even just not controlling yourself as a woman. Today you're with this one, you're with John. Tomorrow you're with this one, you're with that one, you're with this one. Every relationship that I've gotten into, I've always wanted to settle down with a person. But somewhere along the way, you find this person is not what I want. Okay, I'm very quick at just jumping ship. I'm like, all right, you know what? Because I know what I want. So as a woman, you need to know what you want and work for it. Don't be a failure.
Earlier, I was telling you about part-time farmers, people who have a full-time job. I work Monday to Friday. Over the weekend, I go to Chisamba at the farm, come back on Sunday. Do you feel that you already look like you're saying no? Have you seen people do that?
Yeah, I have. Many, and many fail because of that. I actually want to provide a solution for that. I've seen a huge opportunity with that. I see an opportunity everywhere. So that's a huge opportunity for someone to control those people because you could make serious money out of that. Anyway, the Z farmer will do it. I'll do it. But it can't work, especially if you're growing crops. If you're doing livestock, and it depends on livestock, like if you're doing cattle or goats, it can work. But if you're doing pigs, fish, chickens, no, you have to be there every single day. You have to be. What about that Indian man that sits in his shop every single day, Monday to Sunday? He's not stupid. He goes there because you have to be on your business. Why? Because of our Zambian ethic. My boss is Valiko. The minute I drive off the farm, people's culture just changes altogether. You get what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's the work ethic. It's a lot of things. You have to be there to see, to watch. So if you're a full-time employee and you want to do remote farming, I think livestock would be better. Or rain-fed crops like maize, stuff that doesn't really need. But again, there's theft when you're a part-time farmer. If you're not there every day, they steal from you. That's just how it goes. If I'm there every day and they're stealing whilst I'm eating lunch, what about that person in the office? They steal when I'm eating lunch.
What do they steal?
Oh, let me tell you a funny story. Sorry, guys. I know we're digressing a bit, but you need to hear this story. One of my farmer friends was growing potatoes, and these people came to work during the day. They got piece workers, put them in a truck, and then took them to the farm. They worked, and they were harvesting potatoes. They came back with knives and guns at night and made the farmers and made the guards harvest and filled a van and drove off. And I was arguing with my manager the other day why he does not want to grade the roads in the farm. And he said, no, madam, azani bela. Because you can't, when the road is bumpy, you can't speed.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, whereas when the road is smooth, the people can just go and...
Oh, I get your point.
Mm-hmm. So he refused to grade the road. Like the grader was there.
Oh,
So
that was wise.
Yeah, he's really wise. He's really wise. So what I'm saying is that the part-time farmers just need to ensure that they have people who are trustworthy, who are not going to steal from them. Maybe a relative or someone who they trust. And it's hard to find people who... Because everybody steals. That's my take. When we make a cost of production for a crop, we always put shin for stealing. All the time. We put a percentage for stealing. Like they can be
You
stealing.
didn't plan for stealing.
Yeah, today they were stealing tomato. I was just looking at them. I'm just like, I just leave them. It's fine.
What advice would you give someone who's planning to start the farming business? Where do you start from?
First is the land and the water. That is the most important thing in farming. Is your land viable for... And it depends what type of farming. If it's livestock farming, you need to go and visit a livestock farmer. If it's crop farming, you need to ensure that you test the soils and ensure that there's water. That's the first thing I do when I get on land. So how many hectares? Then your market research. What is it that you're going to grow that is going to sell like hotcake? Right now, maize is a hotcake. I grew 7 hectares of maize. All of it is gone. So it's like I anticipated that there'll be a meal shortage. Yeah, but, it's just, I think the most important thing is studying the market trends. Like, you need to know what's coming. And the way to do it is to go to Soweto Market. Those are the people who tell you what's coming.
Okay. The other thing I want to find out is, I know you mentioned a bit, maybe like a small percentage of it earlier, is the higher ups, like someone like you who's a CEO of the farm. And then you have to interact, like you said, you have to go to the Soweto woman who is like very low there. The interpersonal skills, because also some people, repel people who've got money because you come there with attitude, How do you manage interactions with the lowest of people that you can ever interact with?
So first of all, I really dumb down my dressing. When I say dumb down, I'll wear chitenge, I'll wear my bikini, like I'll even put on chitambala. And then I'll tell the driver to go and park far away, and I'll just go there walking. Like, you need to understand how they think and go down to their level. So there's certain things that I do, like for the marketeers, maybe we'll drop them somewhere. There's certain incentives that we put on the tomato field so that, they can come and buy. Because to be honest, I don't like going to Soweto Market. So there's certain things that we do. But to relate to those people, you need to ensure you speak the language. Like, I can speak Lenje, a bit of Lenje. I speak Tonga. I speak Lozi. I speak Nyanja, Bemba. So you need to be able to go down to their level, speak their language, eat with them. There's nothing like, me, I'm a CEO. What? Sometimes I'll take off my jewelry, just put on chitambala and chitenge, jump in a bus if you can. Like, you have to be humble. In fact, you have to be humble everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to be humble everywhere.
And then also, my interest is on education. Like we established, like you did your nursing. You've got no education in agriculture, you've got no education in farming, you've got no degree in livestock, whatever, nothing. But you're still thriving on the business. There are people who just go get a degree in whatever field. How do you make your qualification work in business, regardless of the business? As long as, because they said like a degree is like, I don't know, it just opens your mind. How do you use your education, regardless of the field, to apply it in the business?
Wow. Okay. So because I have a degree and because I understand, I did a diploma in business. So I think that opened my mind a little bit to the business side of things. But, being educated, especially tertiary education, is so important. Why do I say that? You start understanding things on a different level. You understand the way an organization runs, for example. We did, we studied about organizations, organizational skills, management. You do, like I did some management accounting in the diploma of business. So we use even the nursing side, hey? The nursing side, I did psychology. So I understand the way human brain thinks. I understand the way my workers think because of that degree that I did. I have seen farmers who are not educated and they make lots of money, but are still on the same level. They don't grow in their businesses. A lot of Zimbabwean farmers, the guy doesn't know how to write, but he makes money every single day. The biggest thing they'll buy is a car and maybe have some houses in Kanyama on rent. And Yeve Afika, you know what I mean? Because they're not educated. So I look at someone like that and say, okay, if they had a degree, they'll probably be on the stock exchange because of the years. You look at someone, he's been farming for 20 years. There's a farmer I knew who started in 2001. He's still farming, but he's still on the same farm, hasn't bought any other farms. He buys beautiful cars. He's got nice cars. He's got a 10-bedroom house. He's got houses in Kanyama. He's got 20 kids, Those houses in Kanyama feed the kids, and then that's it. They don't want to diversify because of the level of education. So education is so important. So for all those UNZA students who just say, hey, me, I want to leave my degree, don't. You'll make a mistake. Go to school.
And earlier we talked about generational wealth. How do we begin to create that culture? Because I think, like right now, you see some parents, you only want your kids to focus on school. You think about what business, whatever, after you're done with school. Do you feel that's the right approach? How do we begin to create a mindset in our people to begin to think of businesses beyond just them?
You know, the generational wealth starts off just by how you divide your profits. And what do I mean by that? Like, for example, on every field, I always ensure that a profit goes to an asset. And that asset shall bring other assets. That's how I think. And when you think like that, then you start building generational wealth, not only for your kids, but for your grandkids. You can't just build for yourself. The Bible says, leave a good inheritance for your children.
Yeah.
So when I look at my parents, for example, my parents left a farm. My dad left a farm. My mom left a farm. And then we went from 1 farm to 2 farms to 3 farms. And when I look at them, I want to be able to have 6 farms or, 10 houses or, 20 real estate, because I really love real estate. So 20 houses in real estate. That's how I think. And I don't want my kids to start from zero. I want them to have a base to start on, to build on that. But how do you do that? You have to start now. The minute you start a business, get some profit, put it away, invest it in an asset. That asset should make more money for you. So I think about, like me and my husband have cooking oil houses. We have 2 cooking oil houses, which sell cooking oil every single day. And that money comes in every day. And then we put it towards an asset. When I count our assets together, we have quite a number. I'm not going to say how many we have because then people start writing about us. But, these are his cooking oil houses. And then I just came as a woman to add on to it. And then we invest it, we get the money, we put it somewhere else. And then it starts growing. And then it starts growing just like that. And then when I look at Galoon Farms is now it's gone on to the grandkids. So it's not his son. His son died. Now it's the grandchildren. And the grandchildren don't even live here. They live in Israel. So whoever's managing the farms are just managers on the farms. They're not the owners of the farm. But Galoon worked so hard, the grandpa, the one who started Diamonddale, he worked so hard that those grandkids have assets. They're selling Roan Park, all those Minwood, those are all Galoon farms. So you can imagine how much money they've made just from selling all those plots. And Diamonddale, I think, is also going on sale soon.
Who do you look up to? Who inspires you?
Hey, wow, that's a hard question. My mom inspires me a lot. Hubert Angel inspires me. Because when I look at him, I'm like, this guy he's on Forbes list. He inspires me because of his giving heart. He gave someone $5,000 at the last Exodus night. And I was like, wow, he just took $5,000 out of his pocket and gave someone. But the person that inspires me the most is my mom. When I look at her and her life, she has done pretty well for herself. She has.
We should bring her on the podcast.
You should. She would be delighted.
No, we should. So,
you should.
For you, what is your... since you said degrees and whatnot, that thing you learn in school, you did business, Maslow's hierarchy of needs.
Yes.
At the end, there's self-actualization.
Yes.
For you, what really has to happen? Like, what is your level of success that will make you feel like, I've arrived? What really will make you say, now I can rest. I'm done.
When I have money, when I have assets that make money for me whilst I'm sleeping, enough money to last me even 5 years. You understand what I mean? Yeah. I don't think I'll ever because of the way I am, I'm a go-getter. I'm always up. Like I always
Moving
want
target.
the next thing. And I get bored very quickly. So I want to buy a plane that I can fly myself.
Okay,
And I want
plane.
to
Those
learn
are
how
planes
to
for
fly.
farms or like real plane?
Yeah, I want to get a jet.
Or like a private jet?
Like a private jet, yes. I want to buy a private jet. And I'll buy it.
Because you bet NG was a private jet. So.
No, I just look at myself and I say, I think that's when I'll feel like, okay, I've arrived. If I have money that's making itself for me and money that can pay for fuel for a private jet, because fuel is expensive. Parking fees at KK Airport are expensive.
Yeah, I'm actually told that it's actually more expensive for you to be on the ground than in the air.
Yes, it's very expensive. I've got friends who have planes. When I look at them, I'm like, wow.
They're Zambians?
Yeah, they're Zambians. They're white Zambians.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
You had to say that. I know why you had to add that. Earlier, I was telling you about that thing I was saying where some people, the problem is that they're standing in their own way.
Yes.
You know, there's nothing about, there's that thing they like saying at your ancestors, something about, you know how they blame others and say, your village people, what and what.
No, they witched you.
At the spiritual attack, you know, those kinds of things.
Yeah, Kanongo, they put you in a Kanongo. I've heard those stories so many
but
times.
to be honest, for me, and that's my opinion, some people are just standing in their own way.
Yeah, they are. Some people are lying to themselves, especially men. Sorry, I really feel like
Why would you say that
women
they're
are
lying
doing
to
well.
themselves?
Like there's some people who just do the same thing every day and expect a different result, like I was saying. I mean, there are people who are mediocre. How can I put it to you? For example, there's someone who owns a business, right?
Yeah.
Like today I went to town center to buy. I was just looking for something. I went there at 8. There were no people there. There were very few. Bakadipo kubwela, I'm abwela na 9 hours. I'm just like, you see? There's money that comes for you. God brings you, but it's your level of consistency and diligence. The Bible says a diligent hand maketh rich. What does diligence really mean? Be on time. There are women who own boutiques. They could have been far, 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 but they come to work late. They play around. They go, they're doing their nails. A customer walks into the shop. They haven't even trained their people on customer service. They haven't trained their people on sales. How are you going to grow? So what I'm saying is that some people are just standing in their own way. It's true. You are in Chicago's every Friday, Saturday night. You expect your business to grow instead of you reading about your business and how it can grow. Time is not with us, huh? There's not enough hours in the day. By the time I go to bed, I'm just like, wow, so many things have happened during the day. You need to be this person who realizes yourself, realizes your purpose, works on yourself, and then works hard out there and delivers the very best. The problem with us Zambians, sorry to say, is that we are people who are mediocre. We don't stick to time. We don't do perfect jobs. Like, for example, I asked somebody to paint my house the other day. He did a horrible job. And he sees nothing wrong with it. We're not excellent. Do you know why the Chinese are excellent at what they do? There are Chinese people who were working on my house the other day. I could not believe. You say this, they do it immediately. You tell them this, they do it. I was telling them about the toilets and the handles for the bathrooms. Immediately they were there. They're there at 7 o'clock, 6 o'clock. You will never find a Zambian opening their shop on a Saturday at 7 o'clock in the morning, ready for customers. No. I've never seen a 24-hour shop. Go and walk in town at 2 a.m. in the morning. Will you find one shop open? Not even one. Go to Asia. Go to Thailand. People don't sleep. You can go and buy clothes in Louis Vuitton at 2 a.m. in the morning. That's why I always say that our people are wrong. We are suffering because of ourselves. It's got nothing to do with anyone. It's got nothing to do with the government. If you're diligent, you work hard, you apply yourself, you're not mediocre, trust me when I tell you that God will open doors for you. I go to my farm every single day. My mom says I'm a workaholic. I said yes, because why? I need to be on the business. I need to know what's going on. You can't be farming on the phone. Hello, Matila Manzi. It doesn't work like that. I found people in the gym, 9 o'clock in the morning, you're a business owner. 8 o'clock, hello, someone is still sleeping. Are you serious? 8 o'clock in the morning, you are still sleeping and you're a business owner. Then you don't want to grow. You don't want to grow. So those people who don't want to grow, let them stay poor. Us who want to grow, we are going to work hard and get rich. That's what I told them. I said, you don't want to grow? That's up to you. You are standing in your own way. And I'm very passionate about this, especially with women. Women, 9:00, the chick is still sleeping. I'm like, what are you doing?
I kept thinking about my question, but I kept listening to you, so it's cool. No, but in all honesty, I understand you. And to be honest, people don't want to be confronted about those kinds of things.
Oh, they hate me when I write about, and I don't care. They must know the truth that they are lazy. Zambians are lazy people. I always tell the president, we've got such a good president for the wrong people. We are wrong. Have you seen how Nigerians work?
Well, the Nigerian here, is it 2 weeks ago? She just told us that he talked about Nigeria, how those guys work. They said, if you're going to thrive as a farmer, you must be the best farmer the world has ever seen.
Yes, exactly. And that's how I feel. Me, I must be the best at what I do. And that's why it's just consistency all the time. I must be the best at what I do. I must be the king of the game, not even the queen, the king of the game. So that it's not about, I can't relax. There is no time for relaxing. Me, I'll relax when I'm dead. There's Galamkani, he's relaxing. He's dead. Me, when I would sleep, I always tell my mom goes, do you sleep? I'm like, no. I sleep, yeah, but my mind is so active that my mind just wakes up at 4:30 in the morning. I don't have to set an alarm. It just wakes up.
Do you ever, so you never have fun? I'm in Dubai, I'm relaxing.
No, I do. I travel. I do. And when I have fun, I have lots of fun. When I play
But
hard.
you manage to create time for people that matter in your life.
Yes. I create time for my mom. We have Sunday lunches together. We just had lunch today. I always make sure that I create time for my family, for my kids. So when I'm at home, I'm just a typical mom. I jump on the bed. We do those roly-poly games. I do all that.
Do people reach out to you and say, no, you be my mentor?
Yeah, they do. But I haven't mentored people in a while because I've been overwhelmed myself with the expansion of the farms. I will start mentoring probably in June. Yeah.
Okay.
I've got
What
too much going
would
on.
be the 5 things you'd like to say to young people as advice?
Okay. So the 5 things, number 1 is your mindset is everything. How you envision yourself is what you are going to be. So I believe that whatever it is that you speak comes to pass. For example, I always wanted to drive a Hilux Legend 50. And I would sit sometimes in my fields and I close my eyes and I'm driving. I even drive from my house to the farm. I'm pressing the buttons. I even went to Toyota, sat in a Hilux Legend. And guess what? 6 months later, I bought a Hilux Legend. It's there. It's parked outside. So whatever it is that you envision and confess with your mouth is what comes to pass. So there are certain affirmations that I say every single morning. Wealth is my portion. Success and prosperity are mine. Money is coming and it is coming to stay. And when I declare those things, for sure, it happens. Okay? Number 2, you need to be able to sacrifice. Sacrifice is the most important thing in entrepreneurship. If you can't sacrifice even your last 10 kwacha to buy fertilizer, then you can't be a successful entrepreneur. There are times where you're going to reap and there are times when you're going to have to sacrifice. There are times when I only have 100 kwacha in the bank because I've bought a tractor. Like the last time I bought a tractor. Or I bought, sprayers or chemicals, or I've paid salaries. Sometimes when I pay salaries, the salary bill will cost maybe 40,000, 50,000. And then you don't have money and you're waiting for your next harvest. There are times like that. When I go through times like that, you have to be willing to sacrifice. The third thing I want to tell young people is that from my mistakes, the ones that I have made in the past, I want you to learn from me. You need to live a life of discipline, of self-worth, and just of prayer and total commitment to God. Because when you have these 3 things, you can't fail. If I rewinded the time, I would have taken my time to get married. I wouldn't have rushed. That's number 1. And 2, I would have done things a little bit different. The first time I started making money, I was a bit stupid. I used to travel a lot, go to America, do this, do that, and I hadn't built a house. You see? So I was splurging money instead of building. So you need to keep focused on what the end goal is. Consistency. Be consistent at what you do. If you're going to be in farming, be in farming. If you're going to do this, do that. And grow on it. Make sure you grow. But you as an individual need to grow. You can't be childish. You can't be at the same level personally, like yourself in your mind and how you do things, and then expect your business to grow. It doesn't work like that. If you're changing goals, I know some business people who just change goals. One day he's with this one, the next day is, trust me, it's going to affect your business. So whatever it is that you do in your personal life, because your business is your baby. So you can't do that. Then the fourth, am I on fifth?
No, you're on fourth.
Okay. So the fourth thing is that learn to rest. And this is something that I've had to learn. I think maybe I even have high blood pressure because I don't rest. Learn to just have quiet time. And that's why I meditate in the morning. And sometimes I take quiet time at lunchtime. Just learn to have a quiet time, a moment with yourself where you close your eyes and you're just meditating and just focusing on what God has to say. Because God will only give you instructions when you're quiet and you listen out to what he says. And then the fifth thing is that be financially disciplined. When you make your money, put it in the bank. Put it in the bank. You need financial statements. Any business, no matter how small it is, needs a financial statement. How do you get a financial statement? Start creating a rapport with the bank. Bank the money. No matter what it is, bank the money and then withdraw. Set your expenses. Stick to the budget. Don't go over the budget. Don't be impulsive. I used to be an impulse buyer. I used to buy hair, this. I don't do that anymore. I just buy what I need. Live a life of simplicity. Be simple. Be simple. Me, I can afford any Brazilian wig, but I've got braids in my hair for 200 kwacha. Why? Because I'm simple. You find that most rich people are very simple. Have you ever seen a rich person caked up with makeup and they've got bangles everywhere?
No, because those billionaires I see, when Elon Musk, they wear t-shirts, you know.
Yeah, we're very simple.
I like that. I like that. No, yeah. I mean, it will come. It will come. Yeah. I like what you said about, sorry, to add another question. What you said about the bank part and the financial discipline.
Yeah.
Most entrepreneurs, especially the small ones that must all trade away, are not accountable to anyone in the business, struggle to separate the business's money
from
their personal money.
Yeah.
I go and deliver something on the way back. I pass, I go and buy ice cream.
No. You need to get a salary. I'm on a salary.
Oh, you pay yourself a salary?
Yeah, I'm on a salary. I pay myself a salary every month.
How did you decide how much to pay yourself?
I had to consult my mom. I had to consult the partner of Tuzini Farms, who is the chairperson, Mwangala Zalumis. But I already had a figure in mind of what the business could afford.
Yeah.
You have to be realistic with what the business can afford. So I pay myself a salary. Sometimes I don't get paid. Like last month, I didn't get paid.
You don't just
So
go and
I'll pay
tap
myself in arrears. When the money comes from the maize, I'll pay myself in arrears. That's what I do.
Okay.
Yeah, so I live with my mom currently, but I'm the one that does the groceries. Yeah, I'm the one.
Wait, you live with your mom?
Yes, I live with my mom.
But then earlier you said you only have lunch on Sunday together.
I don't see her.
Oh, okay.
Okay, I live with my mom, but because she's busy, we only see each other maybe at night. Or sometimes I'm on the other farm, so I don't see her.
Oh.
Yeah, so we will only like sit down now and have lunch together, whatever, maybe on a Sunday. During the week, it's a bit tough because the kids are there and then she comes home and sometimes she's in her room. I live on the other side of the house. But I won't be living with her for very long because I'm getting married soon. So I'm going to my own house now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. You've been a good sport. Thank you very much for the conversation.
Thank you so much.
I feel like there's still a lot to learn, but in the future, we'll invite you back.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I'm really honored and humbled to come. I don't do media interviews anymore.
Why is that?
I just want to stay away for a while and just focus on the farming.
But I feel like that's a wrong attitude because people still have to learn. You get the point, eh?
Yeah.
Because to be honest, you have become this huge farmer. And I don't think you had a chance to listen to someone talk about farming on a podcast and whatnot, and you succeeded.
Yeah.
So there is no excuse for someone right now who wants to do farming. There's no excuse because the information is out there and you're giving it.
Yeah, I hear
And I feel
you.
like for me, it's just basically, as like you said now, at some point, it's just about you yourself.
Yeah.
There's to be honest, there's no excuse. No. And right now, it's easier to thrive because we are in this information generation.
Yeah.
Like it's everywhere. Just get your phone and anything you want to learn, you are going to learn.
Exactly.
So yeah, thank you very much for
Thank you so much.
finally being on the podcast.
Thank you.
Yeah. So after the marriage, I'm sure to be Maria something else. You
Yeah.
have to get a new T-shirt. You have to get a
My
new shirt.
husband says,
you
no,
know?
this is a brand, so you can continue,
Yeah?
with your Zalumi's surname.
But there'll just be that person on Facebook. Maona, such Jazine.
People on Facebook.
No, but thank you very much for being here, and thank you guys for supporting the podcast. We have a number of supporters for the podcast, and we're really grateful, and we look forward to more support. So please, just be there for the podcast. We look forward to another conversation next week. This has been Maria Zalumis. I'm hoping I'm saying that for the last time. Bye.
Bye.